Today we're here in reference to a police-involved shooting that occurred behind me at 6429 San Juan Avenue behind the Mr. Dragon restaurant. Earlier this afternoon around 3 o'clock, SWAT officers were set up at the request of our homicide and robbery detectives to do surveillance on an apartment complex in reference to the CVS robbery that occurred yesterday that you're all familiar with. During the time that they were conducting surveillance, a warrant was obtained for a person's arrest. The SWAT members that were doing the surveillance observed this suspect getting inside that gold car that you see behind me that's crashed into the Tahoe. They were following the suspect, and at some point the suspect tried to take evasive action and crashed into one of our SWAT team undercover vehicles, jumped out of the back seat of the car and began running behind the building next to the Sunoco behind me and behind the Mr. Dragon restaurant. In pursuit of the suspect were SWAT team members. Detective M.E. Campanero was directly behind the suspect as he came around the far side of the restaurant. They ordered him to surrender. The suspect was carrying a black bag that he was clutching close to his chest and actually had his hand inside this black bag. The suspect refused to comply and entered forcibly into the business by shouldering the door. As he entered the business, the detectives were behind him, still ordering him to comply. There was a civilian inside the business at the time. The suspect turned towards the officer with his hand inside the black bag. At that point, Officer Campanero fired 2 times, striking the suspect. He's since been transported to University of Florida Hospital, Shands, where he is, at my understanding, in surgery at this point.
Do you have a name on the suspect?
Not at this time.
Is he believed to be the suspect from the Mojo's robbery?
Of course, we're working that. We can't verify that at this time, but we did have an active warrant for this person's arrest for the CVS robbery that occurred yesterday.
Can you just recap how this suspect was under surveillance and just kind of explain that again, because we just went on air?
We had information that we developed about the identity of the suspect from the shooting and robbery that occurred at the CVS in Avondale yesterday. At the request of the detectives that were working the case, they asked our special teams, SWAT team, to set up surveillance on the suspect because we knew a possible location for him to be. During the surveillance, the warrant was obtained and signed, and the SWAT members observed the suspect getting into this gold-colored vehicle behind me, that's the one that's crashed into the Tahoe, and they were following it. At some point, the suspect rammed the vehicle that's behind me, jumped out in a foot pursuit. They ran behind the businesses, and the suspect entered the Mr. Dragon restaurant where he was shot.
Do we know what was in the black bag you say he was carrying?
A gun was recovered. We'll do a follow-up tomorrow when we have more information, but there was a gun inside that black bag.
Can you tell us how long police officers were following the suspect?
I don't know that at this time.
Was he working with someone else, or are you looking for anyone else?
At this point, we're not looking for anyone else. There were other occupants in the vehicle with the suspect at the time he jumped out. Those people are in custody and are currently downtown being questioned.
Has he been in this area the entire time since the shooting?
I have no idea.
Was the restaurant full when he went inside it?
I believe there was one employee inside the restaurant.
How long have you been following him, or I guess where did you start following him?
The Magnolia Terrace apartments were the apartments where he was seen getting into the gold car.
One more question.
Talk about the...
At one point, right before the crash, the officers, that Tahoe behind me has emergency equipment. They activated their lights and siren to pull him over, yes.
Can you talk to me about the brazen nature of this crime? This guy tried to kill one person, possibly, and attempted to kill another person.
I don't know his motives for what he did or why he did it or why he did what he did today. Obviously, if he makes it through the surgery, we'll be able to question him and hopefully get some answers.
How bad is he injured?
Are there any more suspects that they're searching for? Were there any more suspects in the vehicle?
Everyone that we needed to take into custody today has been taken into custody.
Okay, tomorrow
outstanding suspects.
we'll have a follow-up.
Has any
Thank
cash
you.
been recovered as well?
Thank you.